Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to tackle an emotion that holds back so many people, and that is the fear of failure. Now this is something I've struggled with myself, so I really empathize if you have it too. The fear of failing or not being good enough can stop you from even trying in the first place. And when we don't try, we miss out on so many opportunities. But the good news is, this fear can be overcome. In this video, I'll walk you through the mindsets and strategies that I've used in the past to get over my own fear of failure. These tips have helped me put myself out there more, take more risks, and ultimately achieve more of my goals. Now my promise to you is this: by the end of this video, you'll have actionable steps to move forward with more confidence and resilience, and to enforce a never give up mentality. Failure happens, but you can control how you respond to it. So let's get started. Now before we can overcome the fear, we need to understand where it comes from. This fear usually starts early in life. As kids, we're constantly being evaluated on tests, sport teams, and social settings. We learn to tie our self-worth to external validations and judgments. So now, as we get older, we dread the judgment that comes with failure. Our inner critic tells us that if we fail, it means we're worthless or incapable. Perfectionists especially struggle with this, feeling that they can only do things flawlessly or not at all. Now this fear can hold us back in all areas of life. In our careers, for example, we may avoid risks or taking on new challenges. In relationships, we may not open up emotionally or end things prematurely. Creatively, we may not share our work or talents. The key is realizing that failure is normal and human. Every successful person has failed many times over. Failure is part of growth. Now, as Wayne Gretzky famously said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable sometimes. Now, the goal isn't to avoid failure. It's not to let failure stop you. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen if I try this out and fail? Usually, it's not as bad as you would imagine, and the rewards of trying can be life-changing. Just as with building physical strength, failure spurs mental and emotional growth. Lifting weights, for example, to the point of failure breaks down muscle fibers so that the body can rebuild them even stronger. Similarly, failure breaks down our limiting beliefs and outdated strategies so that we can rebuild ourselves mentally tougher. Without experiencing failure, we may never exert or challenge ourselves enough to reach our full potential. Failure provides that resistance and tension that forces us to adapt and to evolve. It's an essential process for developing untapped skills, wisdom, and strength. Now, I want you to think of failure like a tough personal trainer. It creates intense discomfort in the moment, but ultimately transforms us into better versions of ourselves. Failure expedites growth, even when it feels like the opposite. So don't brace yourself against failure or avoid it out of fear. Embrace it as a necessary part of the growth process. Just as bodybuilders embrace lifting to failure as key to building muscle. With each failure, visualize yourself getting mentally stronger. Rather than being discouraged by failure, get excited about the growth ahead. So here are 4 strategies that will help you overcome the fear of failure. Strategy number 1. Reframing failure. Now, failing is never fun, but it's usually not as bad as we think. Here are some ways to reframe failure in a more positive light. Failure means you have tried. Many people don't even attempt their goals or dreams out of fear. Trying itself is success. Failure provides learning. So reflect on failures without shame. What can you learn to improve next time? I really love this quote, which says that I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that haven't worked. Use this philosophy. Failure builds resilience. Bouncing back from failure helps us to handle adversity better in the future. Each failure makes you mentally and emotionally stronger. Failure brings you closer to success. Thomas Edison repeatedly failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. Each failure eliminated another thing that wouldn't work. Strategy number 2. Changing your self-talk. Our inner critic can be very discouraging when failure happens. Silencing or reframing negative self-talk is so important. Here are some ways to do it. Actively challenge negative thoughts. When you have self-doubting thoughts, force yourself to reframe them. For example, I'm terrible at this becomes I'm still learning and making progress. Imagine advising a friend. If a friend was struggling, you'd rather be very kind to him and tell him not to give up. Give yourself the same grace. Focus on positives. Make a daily list of things you appreciate about yourself, situations you've handled well in the past, or skills that you have developed. This builds confidence. Set a growth mindset. Remind yourself abilities are developed, not fixed. With effort and patience, you can get better at anything. It also helps to have a motivating mantra to repeat to yourself when you feel self-doubt creeping in. Something like, I'm worthy of success, or my best is good enough. Find phrases that resonate with you and make you feel empowered. We're halfway through, and before we move ahead, if you're finding this video helpful so far, do me a massive favor and smash that like button. I release new videos with science-based tactics for success, and I'd love to have you join this community by clicking on the subscribe button. Hit that bell icon too. Strategy number 3, overcoming perfectionism. For perfectionists, the fear of failure can be paralyzing. Perfectionism links yourself or your self-worth to extremely high standards that are impossible to reach 100% of the time. This in turn causes anxiety and reluctance to try anything less than perfect. So here are some tips for overcoming perfectionist tendencies. Focus on progress versus perfection. Is what you're doing moving you forward, even a little bit? Progress is better than perfection. Next, embrace that 70%. Try to accomplish tasks to about 70% and pat yourself on the back. Allow yourself to be a beginner. When trying something new, give yourself permission to be a newbie. You don't have to be an expert on day one. Celebrate small wins. Every step forward deserves congratulations, not criticism. Did you work out 3 days this week instead of 5? Well, celebrate the 3 days. Perfection is an illusion, so embrace being happily imperfect. Strategy number 4, turning failures into successes. Failure is a fact of life, but you can control how you respond to it. Here are some tips for bouncing back stronger. Take time to process. It's healthy to feel disappointed by failure initially. Give yourself space to work through the emotions. Next, identify lessons learned. So what insights does this failure provide? How can you avoid the same mistake next time? Write down these takeaways. Make adjustments. What needs to change in your preparation, strategy, skills, mindset, or even support system to set you up for success the next time? Get specific. Celebrate small wins. Note any positives that come from your experience. Did you learn new skills or make valuable connections? Find the silver linings and get back out there. Don't let that one failure stop your momentum. Allow yourself to feel low temporarily, then reignite your determination. Every failure makes the next attempt stronger and smarter. You've got this. The fear of failure is real and valid, but with the right mindset and coping strategies, it doesn't have to stop you from living your best life. Reframe failure as an essential part of growth. Be kind to yourself when you fall short. And most importantly, keep taking those scary leaps. They're worth it. I hope this video helped you provide tactics to overcome the fear of failure in your own life. Let me know in the comments below if any of these tips resonate with you, or if you have any other tips that have worked for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.